In the novel 1984, written by George Orwell, takes place in Oceania during the World War II in Europe. Winston Smith, who is known as one of the main characters, plays a role in 1984. Winston works as a records editor at the Ministry of Truth. Later on in the book, he ends up dragging himself home to Victory Mansions. Furthermore, we will be discussing the importance of dystopia, social repression, and intellectual functioning in our TED Talk. On page 4 in 1984, you can find the quote, "War is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength." The power of language in this novel is one of the most potent forces that exist, and as a result, the state goes through great length to influence and control language. 1984 is a dystopian novel that was published in 1949 that provides information on a shorthanded, unwelcoming government. There was only one nickname applied, and that was Big Brother, towards a government in order to produce headache on something so evoked in Orwell's most known novel. While reading the book, the protagonist, Winston Smith, orders courage to furthermore engage a small act that is known to be a terrible crime that is carried out by the party. During this scene, Winston is recording his thoughts and memories in his private diary. Later on, Winston's journal starts to reveal all these great deals and ideas about the society and how he lives and where he truly comes from in his inner self. The dystopia he presents is nightmarish, but the true nightmare vision of his work is the process by which this world where 5 means 4 and freedom means enslavement comes to exist. Many perspectives have been offered on Orwell's masterpiece, and many critics have lauded their particular positions of one of the most fruitful venues of investigation for 1984. This is psychoanalytical criticism. This theory offers a unique yet complementary position on the use of the effect of language on the individual and as a whole. Through the lens of psychoanalytic theories, George Orwell's 1984 exemplifies a totalitarian dystopia in order to display the effect of the use and the abuse of language upon the human experiences. Language is a tool that has a great impact upon people and individuals and societies as a whole. Beyond simply communicating information and ideas from one person to another, language has the ability to create what it calls. Speech act theorists have argued for this understanding for some time, and the truth of the matter seems virtually recognized. However, the fact that the language can do more than simply communicate does not negotiate the fact that it is a mean of communication as well. These aspects of language affect people greatly, and a positive sense of language can unite. Common language leads to a common culture that gives rise to community. Language can also be used to bridge and a gap between different communities when people make that effort. Language is a constructive tool when intentioned to be so.
This explains Winston's unconscious actions. Winston writing in his journal knowing that is forbidden, yet still doing it because his id needed to be satisfied as he was struggling with the anxiety of Big Brother's always watching. He wrote, "Down with Big Brother." In Bloom's literature article, How to Write About 1984, it stated that Winston is concerned about carrying on what he considers to be the human heritage, makes it clear that he believes that the society he lives in strips its citizens not only of their freedom, but of their humanity. This act of rebellion of writing in his diary shows his true thoughts and feelings towards his society, and we can figure this out based on the id, which is the unconscious mind in Freud's theory of personality, as well as the articles we used in this research. The superego, on the other hand, lets individuals realize the rights and wrongs with our society. It incorporates the values and morals a person has learned throughout their life. It tries to persuade the id and the ego to turn to moral goals rather than seeking pleasure for the heck of it. He lives in a totalitarian society, as mentioned before, which Freud would consider a perfect example of an oppressive civilization. His take on how instincts can affect individuals when conflict is experienced and when instincts are repressed by society become clear when we look into his theory. The id, in what we know as the party, sees human instincts as and their behavior as wrong. So the party's goal is to overpower human instincts with the superego. The ego's task is to satisfy the id long enough for it to subside while remaining within the superego's boundaries. The superego is conditioned by civilization to punish the individual with guilt in order to restrain instincts. The party, as it is in control of the superego, manipulates every sense of person's right or wrong moral dilemma. The party takes guilt to the next level by punishing any member by death if their ego slips up on masking the id. Winston is well aware of this as he quotes, "The smallest thing could give you away. A nervous tic, a look of anxiety, a habit of muttering to yourself, anything that carried with it the suggestion of abnormality, of having something to hide." It's kind of like how human superego attempts to rid the mind of any wrong thoughts. What Big Brother is watching is evident, and the guilt he holds on to is because he is conscious that what he's doing is not with the party's idealism. In the article, Rethinking the Mind, Cognitive Science Faces a Philosophical Challenge, it is quoted that the facets of the unconscious, such as memories and repressed conflicts, sometimes enter awareness, but more often influence thought and behavior in secret ways, according to cognitive researchers. This explains Winston's unconscious actions. Winston writing in his journal knowing that is forbidden, yet still doing it because his id needed to be satisfied as he was struggling with the anxiety of Big Brother's always watching. He wrote, "Down with Big Brother." In Bloom's literature article, How to Write About 1984, it stated that Winston is concerned about carrying on what he considers to be the human heritage, makes it clear that he believes that the society he lives in strips its citizens not only of their freedom, but of their humanity. This act of rebellion of writing in his diary shows his true thoughts and feelings towards his society, and we can figure this out based on the id, which is the unconscious mind in Freud's theory of personality, as well as the articles we used in this research.